It has been a very enjoyable weekend for me. Interesting too, as I explored more of Chris Cornell's work and dove a bit deeper into him as an artist, as a person, as a musician, and well, we weren't really planning on doing this as part of the weekend, but it has come up in the course of my listening, and so I was telling Vlad, I really feel like this weekend I should go back and re-listen to Black Hole Sun. Because, as I've mentioned this weekend, and you'll remember if you watched the video in which I did listen to Black Hole Sun the first time, I didn't connect with it. I didn't really enjoy it in my first listening experience. And I'm curious now, having become more familiar with his work, with his voice, with his artistry, how will I perceive it a second time around? Will I be able to relate to it better? Will I be able to appreciate it more? Will I like it more? Will I like it less? I don't know. And of course, knowing that Black Hole Sun came from his period with Soundgarden, and this last one I listened to was actually him moving away from the Soundgarden sound. So there are a lot of different things that are in my mind as curiosity, questions, and interest in just kind of connecting everything and piecing everything together. So I am now going to sit down and re-listen. Well, I'm already sitting down. I am going to re-listen to Black Hole Sun, and it was part of the overview of rock history, which I did with Carl, and I remember some information, but I asked Vlad to give me some paragraphs to freshen up. So I have a couple paragraphs to read here. Before I read these, let me remind you that you can always check out my Ko-fi and Patreon memberships if you want to have early access to videos as soon as we have them edited, uploaded, and of course, if you want to be able to listen to the various series and videos that I do, which unfortunately I cannot post on YouTube because of copyright issues. Things like the Beatles 150 series and so forth. So, Black Hole Sun is a song by the American rock band Soundgarden, written by frontman Chris Cornell. The song was released in 1994 by A&M Records as the third single from the band's fourth studio album, Super Unknown. Considered to be the band's signature song, I remember that from my time with Carl, it topped the US Billboard Album Rock Tracks chart, where it spent a total of 7 weeks at number 1. Despite peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Modern Rock Tracks chart, Black Hole Sun finished as the number 1 track of 1994 for that listing. Worldwide, the single reached the top 10 in Australia, Canada, France, and Ireland, while in Iceland of all places. Well, maybe it makes sense. I mean, Iceland, Black Hole Sun, maybe a sun without warmth. Anyway, in 2014, Cornell explained the song's origins to Uncut magazine, saying, "I wrote it in my head driving home from Bear Creek Studio in Woodinville, a 35 to 40 minute drive from Seattle. It sparked from something a news anchor said on TV that I heard wrong. I heard blah, 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 Black Hole Sun, blah, 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 blah. I thought that would make an amazing title, but what would it sound like? It all came together, pretty much the whole arrangement, including the guitar solo that's played beneath the riff. I spent a lot of time spinning those melodies in my head so that I wouldn't forget them. I got home and whistled it into a dictaphone. The next day, I brought it into the real world, assigning a couple of key changes in the verse to make the melodies more interesting. Then I wrote the lyrics, and that was a stream of consciousness based on the feeling I got from the chorus and the title." Cornell said he wrote the song in about 15 minutes. He used a Gretsch guitar to write the song and commented, "I wrote the song thinking the band wouldn't like it. Then it became the biggest hit of the summer." All right, well, This is my second time listening to Black Hole Sun. And I'm sure it will sound familiar to me. I think I remember a couple of the little melodic fragments from it. But I have listened to so much music since then. I expect this to be a fresh experience. So, let's see how it goes.
In my eyes, indisposed, in disguises no one knows, hides the face, lies the snake in the sun. In my disgrace, boiling heat, summer stench, neath the black the sky looks dead. Call my name through black hole sun, won't you come, wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come, won't you come. Stuttering, cold and damp.
This little dee 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 figure, it strikes me as being kind of Baroque-ish. Like, I'm thinking of some of the preludes, Baroque preludes and fugues. Maybe not really Bach. It could be Bach. I'm thinking perhaps Scarlatti. It sounds like something that could be played on a harpsichord and sound pretty nice. I still don't feel myself in love with the entire sound of the band. I don't, but I do feel like I can relate to it better than I did the first time around. Let's keep going and see what else comes up along the way.
Stuttering, cold and damp, steal the warm wind, tired friend. Times are gone for honest men, sometimes far too long for snakes. In my shoes, walking sleep, in my youth I pray to keep heaven send hell away. No one sings like you anymore. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come.
It's interesting noticing how his voice works in this harder setting with the harder, harsher instrumentation around it. It's incredibly clear and precise. I feel like it pairs very well with the hard sounds in fact, it even takes the place in the verse where the guitar is playing more gently. It's almost as if his voice is taking the place of a really electric, distorted guitar sound. Only in the chorus does the guitar become more distorted and gritty. And I was noticing his voice changes too. I almost feel like it's at least double tracked, or perhaps there are two voices singing there. In unison, of course. But it's a bit fuller and there's a little bit of reverb, extra resonance happening there, which gives it the strength to compete with that really distorted guitar sound. But it's in the verse that I'm really interested in. The role his voice plays as part of the band overall. Especially with the hard drums underneath. And then you hear the bass, which has a very full, soft, warm sound. You have the guitar, which is up in the higher register, more bell-like. And then his very straight, precise, almost metallic voice. And it has a sort of shimmer to it. I guess I might even say it's a metallic shimmer that it doesn't just blend. It is a completely different sonic quality than everything around it. As if it were, and it is, its very own instrument in this context. I think we have another verse coming up, so I'm not going to back up right now. I'm going to go ahead and listen. I think probably it's the guitar solo coming up next. But when the verse returns, I'm going to be focusing my ears on that again, because I'm noticing how much he owns the space his voice inhabits.
Till you all just disappear. Black hole sun, won't you come wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come?
Yes, actually it was a very truncated verse fragment. But the other thing that strikes me is how in this very hard overall style, he is able, even as he is putting his voice in this context, it's still expressive. He still has the capacity to shape it and add subtle details, little touches of shading, coloring, and moments of brightness. The articulation is very precise. I guess this is what I'm settling into, is precision, clarity, and a sort of shimmer, brilliance to it. And those seem to be, to me, to be the features that really make his voice stand out in this piece of music. Holding it out, building the suspense. That was an interesting experience, going back and listening to it again, now that I feel more familiar with the music, with the style, with the voice. And I brought up this question, will I like it more? Will I like it less? And I guess I have to say both. I enjoyed the listening more. I could relate to it better. I enjoyed his voice. I enjoyed the details. The piece in itself is not one that I particularly enjoy. And it's not necessarily because it's hard. There are some hard pieces that you've seen me enjoy quite a bit. It's more something about the melody, the tonality, this minor. It feels very fatalistic and barren, and I don't personally connect with that type of attitude in music. But at the same time, I can appreciate it artistically, and especially now that I have listened to Chris Cornell in so many different contexts this weekend, and going back to this, I hear the same special qualities in his voice that I have heard in other music, and his voice does have a particular character to it, and that is one of the things that makes the great artists stand out. That is that each one of them is unique. Each voice has its own personality, its own sound world, its own quality, its own strengths. You can think of Janis Joplin, or Freddie Mercury, or Robert Plant, or now Chris Cornell. You know, all of these voices that I'm learning to become familiar with and appreciate and explore. His voice is yet another one of those that stands up and takes center stage and fills the music with its own life. And it's really too bad that we lost him when we did, because I feel like he would have had more to give us if he had been able to continue longer. But I have enjoyed this weekend immensely. There have been things that I've loved, things that I haven't loved, even a few things that I've kind of not liked, even disliked, But overall, the entire experience of listening and exploring has been incredibly rewarding, incredibly enjoyable, and I am looking forward to the next set of music that I'm going to explore, and we'll see how it goes from here. But what a lovely weekend of getting to know Chris Cornell. I'll see you next time.